No, they would probably do that. That would probably end up being the case. You're right. They would probably, and it could cause a lot of splash damage too, where like other games get the boot because of that, and they might throw in some other like bullshit reason as well. How like, oh, it's damaging our children's morals because these anime girls in this game are dressed too skimpy, and because like literally everyone in the freaking U.S. Congress is like on death's doorstep. How old they are. Yeah, no WUA, no PGR, no other gacha games. Like, there was already a U.S. lawsuit against MiHoYo that I think ended up winning because of their quote-unquote predatory business practices that encourage children to gamble. Because apparently parents can't keep their credit cards out of their kids' hands. Makes total sense if you ask me. And yes, I'm being extremely sarcastic when I say that. But yeah, I can see this end up being a case. Being the case of what happens, unfortunately. The only gacha games remain in the US are the games made in other countries, such as some Japanese gacha games. I honestly don't think so. Like, if they went down that route, like, there would be splash damage. And by that, I mean there would be major splash damage. Because you look at some of the people that are in Congress, right? They're old as fucking shit. They would be like, well, these games are bad for the kids because they teach gambling. But they're also, like, the ladies in the games are dressed too skimpily. We have to protect our children from these, like, half-naked people, even though they can just freely go to the beach and see even more on real-life individuals. Like, we can't let this happen. We just have to ban all gacha games, all games in general. Like, we're just going to ban all games in general that they're not, like, dressed from all the way from the neck down to the ankles. Technically, that's their fault for not being careful. Yes. Right? Yes. If you can't control your kid and they get a hold of your credit card, that's a you problem, pal. If those idiot old men and women up in Congress actually do sit down and don't shart their panties, and they actually do pass laws about it, I can see there being a lot of splash damage, not just related to gambling. Like, definitely, like, any game made in China would probably be targeted, but, like, with how laws are passed in the US, every single congressman has to have their input solidified in the law for them to be willing to pass it, which is why we end up getting laws and bills that are, like, 30,000 freaking pages long. And so I can see some grandpa or grandma that works up there. Like, I don't like my grandson or my granddaughter looking at these half-naked anime titties. If you want me to vote on this bill, we have to make it so that they are not dangerous to the eyes of these young minds. Some garbage and baloney like that. But I just have a thing about censorship, because it's one of those things where, like, okay, yes, you can make the moral argument where you don't want children to have access to these kinds of materials. But, like, the same thing with, like, anime, right? I don't like anime that ends up censoring out anything. And that goes for not just, like, ecchi anime, but, like, gore anime as well. Like, not a big fan of censoring out gore anime. Because, like, if you start there, and you can make, again, you can make the argument where it's like, it's for the sake of the kiddos, right? Like, we're trying to protect the kiddos from being psychologically scarred for life. It just leads to a very slippery slope where if that's where you start, where do you end now, right?